Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 135 of Two Left Thumbs, the weekly gaming podcast that is constantly fighting against this audio. I'm your host, Puppiez, as always, and this week, joining me, hopefully, and can still hear me because audio goes, Christina. Hi, we're here. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you? Aside from the audio.
I mean, the audio is just like I'm done. I'm ready to go home now. I'm packing it in. I'm just genuinely hoping that's the end of it, and we're okay now. So I'm relieved and I'm okay. I think for now. We'll see what happens in like 10 minutes when it inevitably cuts out again. We'll go with it. It'll be fine. It can be a podcast for people in quiet rooms. Doesn't know. So let's start with the obvious things. For those playing at home, who are you, and what do you do?
Okay, so my name is obviously Christina, and I'm currently an assistant producer at Skyhook Games over in Liverpool. So essentially, I'm a producer in the games industry. Before I worked at Skyhook, I was at PlayStation for just over 3 years, doing QA and stuff there. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's what I do.
Nice. So you've obviously you've been working around games quite a bit. You've worked on some quite large titles. Jumping from QA to a producer is a pretty big leap. So let's walk back a bit. How did you get into the games industry? Start with as QA. Where did that journey start for you?
So before I started PlayStation, I did a games design and development course in college for just 2 years, I think it was. And after that, I actually went into retail. So I was working at, some people pronounce it CX, some pronounce it sex, some pronounce it computer exchange. So I'll go with that. So I was working in retail, and then I was working at a games company where like they dispatch like PlayStation games. The Skylanders and Amiibos were really popular at that time as well. So I was doing that, and I unfortunately got made redundant from that job. And I was up at, I think it was like 1 a.m. and there was a job opening for a QA at PlayStation, and I was like, well, I know a bit about game dev. I don't have the experience, but I'm just gonna give it a go anyway. And the next day, PlayStation actually got back to me and offered me an interview, and yeah, it just went from there, which was really cool. So yeah,
That's
1 a.m. job
it's
search.
1 a.m. job searches. Like that's like real game hour job searches, right? That's when you're up, you're like late sessions, like, you know what? There's this job application. I'm just gonna go for it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What was the process kind of getting into like the interview and stuff like that? I'm not from like the game dev world, so I work in hospitality. So I feel you on that retail front. I have friends in retail. It's a nightmare.
It's stressful. Yeah, it can be stressful.
Yeah.
The only good thing though was like, because I worked in retail, I gained quite a lot of the skills that you need in QA, which is like communication, teamwork, being able to talk to people from like different cultures and companies, because you meet everyone from like all sorts of places when you work in retail. You know, you learn so many stories. People teach you things as well, which is kind of cool. So a lot of that like sort of transferred, like soft skills, you know, people skills, they all transfer into like a QA role. Um, and it just helps when you've got like a real passion for gaming as well. So, um, yeah, I didn't really do anything exciting to get into the industry, to be honest. I just sort of like, I was just up at 1 a.m. and just went, I really want to work at PlayStation, so let's go for it.
Yeah, well, that's it's good to hear, because I think when a lot of people are looking at kind of getting into the gaming industry, or some kind of faction of the gaming industry, it's pretty daunting. Like there's like, you don't know where to start. There's like where do you apply? Like, how do you find these kind of jobs?
Yeah.
Job ads at 1 a.m. We've got it.
Yeah.
You just got to be up at the right time, the right place. So going into QA, what was the first game you worked on, and how was that going in as like brand new to the industry, like not knowing a bit but not a whole lot? You know, you had some educational background, but
Uh, do you know what? My first day of QA was insane. We had like training before we even like set foot on the QA floor. We had training on how to use like software and stuff, which was really cool. And the first, after like the first like 2 days, I was like, am I going to be able to do this? This is a lot of information to take in. It was like just daunting because it was my first industry job. You know, it was PlayStation. I was just sat there when I got home thinking, can I actually do this? Like, this is a lot of work, and you know, this is a lot to learn, and I remember this, and this. But I was like, you can do this. You know, you've worked retail jobs. It can't be that stressful. So I was just like, I'm going to persevere. And then the first week I actually like officially started, I was put on Horizon Zero Dawn, and I would already played Horizon because I joined for the Frozen Wilds DLC. So I did a
right,
bit of
yeah.
patchwork on the previous game and then moved on to the DLC afterwards, and it was just like, it was crazy. It was like, this is my first ever job, and you stuck me on a title by Guerrilla Games. Like, that is like the coolest thing ever. So it was really exciting. Um, yeah, it was just a cool week. I just went home and was like, Mom, guess what I'm doing? She was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So yeah,
I mean, this
crazy.
that's a cracker of a game to start on. Like, especially,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you'd played the game as a fan previously.
I had,
Did,
yeah.
did that? Yeah, going into that, because I mean QA doing like bug testing and lots of playthroughs and stuff like that. Did that change your view on Horizon at all
It,
after that at all?
if anything, it probably strengthened the amount of like love I had for that game. I loved it anyway. Um, so after working on it, when you start to like bond with the team over in the studio as well, and you sort of just like become so immersed in the game and just like the love for it and the community as well. Like, when you watch the community and how much they, you know, they take screenshots, they do cosplays, fan art, everything. It was just like, it was insane. So yeah, I think I definitely fell way more in love with Horizon than I ever expected I would, which was really cool. So yeah, I think it increases your passion when you work in QA, especially with the title you're on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do as someone in QA? Like, what's kind of like the daily kind of work through? Like, what's it like a normal day at work for you?
um, well, so a lot of reports, a lot of finding bugs. One of the things I was told before I went into QA was it can be tedious. And it is. I won't lie, it is a little bit tedious. You know, you're playing the same levels, same quests, the same areas over and over again. But each time you go into these areas, you find something new, and you find something you maybe haven't seen before, and then you have something new to test or new to try out, um, which is pretty cool. So a lot of reports, a lot of taking notes, a lot of bug testing, a lot of communicating between different, you know, studios, different people, and different departments as well. I think people forget how closely QA work with different departments, like localization and stuff like that. When you've got someone a QA tester who really knows the game inside out, and you come onto it from like a localization point of view, you've got someone there who can guide you through the entire game and be like, is this supposed to be here, or is this where it's supposed to be here? Is this narrative correct? Etc. Etc. So yeah, it's quite a busy day. It's not just the stereotypical you sit in front of a computer or a console and play it all day. You really pick apart this game and test it and break it and talk about it as well. It's weird how a game can sort of like become like a casual everyday thing. Like, you have a community who will talk about it as a game, but when you're in a game industry setting, it's like, this is like your whole life right now. So you talk about it as if it's just like, I don't know. it's really weird to explain. It's just like it's your life now, your job. So
Yeah,
you
it's
talk
I
about
mean,
it differently.
it becomes like the water cooler conversation where it's like, you know,
Yes.
where are you
Yes.
on where are you on this bug, or where are you stuck on?
Yes.
Have you broken this again? Have you managed on
Yeah.
it? Because I'm assuming, yeah, it's a lot of, once you find something, it's kind of all right. Now we need to kind of recreate this ad nauseum so we know what the exact problem is and really narrowing that down.
Mhm.
I can imagine that's probably where the tediousness can come in. It can be quite difficult. How many people do you like did you have normally working in a QA team roughly?
Um, maybe like it could have been like 30 to 50 people, like in like overall in the QA department. So I don't know. It varied what project you were on, so I couldn't really give you like a number, but
Yeah,
it
that's
would just
yeah,
depend. So yeah.
cool. So moving on from Horizon, what was next? I want to kind of build as we go. And just kind of get where you've come from.
Okay, so there was in between testing and Days Gone, I would help out like some other projects and stuff. Like I was on Detroit Become Human for like a week. Oh, wait, I think it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks I was helping out doing that. That was really interesting. It's really fun. Quite emotional that game as well, which is cool. There's various other little projects I was on, and then I got to work with Ben's studio on Days Gone, and that was awesome. It was so cool. The only thing that I like, I remember vividly from starting that project was, so I assume quite a lot of people play Days Gone now anyway, so it might not be a spoiler, but when you start
I
off and you're in
haven't,
the,
but it's okay.
oh, okay.
No, it's fine.
not,
It's fine.
not a
I have it. It's
spoiler.
on my PlayStation upstairs. And I was like, I'm finding the time, because I mean, it looks like a great game. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I have a bit of a crush on Sam Witwer. Um,
Yeah.
so
Nico
anyway,
is.
yeah,
um. So okay, so you go into a tunnel. I won't even tell you what tunnel it is. You go into a tunnel and you walk past a door, and as Deacon walks past it, it triggers like a freaker to jump out. And so we hadn't tested the game yet, and we were just starting our first playthrough, and I was like, you put me on a game that has like horror elements, and I'm not really like a horror sort of person. I get scared over like the easiest jump scares ever. Um, and a freaker just like jumped out, and I literally like was like screaming. Like it wasn't even that scary. It was just like a little jump scare. But it was actually really fun to work on, and I'm extremely impressed what Bend have done since then. It was really cool, and I really love Deacon as well. So I was really happy with that, and Boozer as well. Boozer's a great guy. But yeah, it was a good game. It was really fun to work on. And yeah, you should definitely play it. No bias
yeah,
at all. It's really good.
no bias. She works on the game. Look, play it. It's fine. No bias whatsoever. This is cool. It's all right. So we go for unbiased opinions here on this podcast. So I'm very welcoming of that.
To be fair, I do play these games after I've tested them anyway, so I do have my own opinion outside of it anyway, from like a consumer point of view. Consumer, is that really bad to say? Player? Player?
Consumer
Yeah.
is such a weird word, right? Like just the
Yeah.
thought of like consuming a game. There's something just about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's just what the term is, but yeah, again,
Yeah.
just it's a bizarre term.
Mhm.
So
So
like, yeah,
as a
again, like
player.
as a player, let's go with that. So playing it after the fact. I mean, you obviously don't get to play through the full game doing QA. You'd be more focused on individual parts with different people, or do you play through like the whole thing?
We have to play through the whole thing. You need to make sure it works. You need to make
Yeah.
sure when it does fall into the hands of people around the world playing it, that they can get from A to B, B to C. So it has to be tested like the whole thing. So
Oh, you know what I meant is like, so like there'd be like a group of people on one part of the game, and another group of people on the other
oh,
part, or is it just kind of everyone just testing the whole thing at once to like get as
it
many eyes
varies.
on the entire thing?
Um, yeah, you can split into areas quite a bit. that does happen. But yeah, it varies. It just depends what you want to do at the time.
Cool.
So and then after these gone, the very last title I worked. Okay, so a title I did work on after these gone was Last of Us 2. And that was really good. That was when we were at home as well, remote working. So I got to cry at home, so I was really happy with that. I didn't want to like
Nice. Yeah,
cry
excellent. You can just like
in the office.
curl up in the bed in the corner, dark room, just shed some tears. I mean, that's gotta be the best way. Like, especially with something that's so emotionally driven as a series as The Last of Us. How does that go at work when you're working there? You just have to like deal with the sobbing at the desks of like all these other people that are playing through certain parts. So I know what you're up to.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like it's weird how video games can make you like so emotionally invested as well. And you just have to deal with it. You have to just do what you gotta do. If you're gonna cry, it you've got people around you who, this is like probably the best way to describe it. You've got people around you who love video games as much as you do. So if they know you are like heavily invested in like a franchise or a series, everyone on my team knew I love The Last of Us. They knew how much I would like. I don't know. I love Last of Us. I'll die on this hill by myself if I have to. So yeah, everyone knew. So like, even if I had been crying in the office, people would have just been like, "Okay, whatever, just go cry." Like, no one
It's
would have
fine.
said, "Are you okay?" They would have just let me cry. So,
That's so bad. You're not bothered. You can cry. Yeah, I like it. So, anything after Last of Us 2 on the QA front? Nope. All right, cool. So, going from QA to producer, with obviously a different studio, how did this kind of fall into place for you?
It wasn't too different because there's quite a lot of things I do in a production setting that I've done in a QA setting. It goes back to again the communication, the meeting of like deadlines and stuff like that. The stuff that you would expect to see from a production side, you learn a lot of those skills anyway in a QA setting. So it wasn't too bad. Because I personally think I'm good at communicating and talking to people. Like I'm kind of like a people person, so I kind of get on with like different people. So a lot of it I just transferred over. The only thing that was weird about it was not having a console in front of me and sitting down and like using it all day. I do more of the like documenting and documentation. I do much more documentation and emails and reports rather than sitting in front of a game and breaking it. So it felt kind of weird for like a week where I was like, so what am I testing today? And it was like, you don't test anymore. And I was like, oh yeah. So what okay. It was just really weird. Like
So
just
so
unexpected.
so as a producer, you're kind of like coordinating different groups. You're obviously
Yeah, like
dealing with QA and like passing on information and just making sure that the whole machine just kind of runs.
yeah, like so in QA you give the developers the bug reports, whereas now I'm the one who assigns the bugs to the developers. And I'm like, oh, QA have found this issue, and I'm gonna pass it on to you. It's normally me going, hey, I know you just fixed this, but I just broke it. Here's a bug. So a little bit different, but yeah.
How well did that conversation go for you? Like when you had to have like it's something that you brought back like a few times that like couldn't be fixed or hadn't been fixed yet.
It's not too bad. I mean, it's funny because like some devs would be like, right, this is perfect, I fixed it, and QA will find a way to break it. It's just we can do it. We'll do it. We'll do it somehow.
If there's a will, there's a way. We'll figure
Yeah.
it out. And so that was the producer on you mostly working on a lawn mowing simulator.
Yes.
Yes. That's just launched. How does that feel now?
Do you know what? The response is really cool. Which we knew, we'd already said this as a studio. It, you know, it might be like a niche market. It's a simulator. It's lawn mowing. We didn't know what kind of response we were going to get from it. Um, the team have done a fantastic job on it. It looks like graphically, it looks beautiful. There's so many things in that game that I didn't even know people could like physically model. I was like, the castle was like, when I was like taking like a tour around the castle, I was just like, this is so cool. Like, and this is coming from our studio. This is really cool. And when we leading up to it, people were getting really excited about it, and then on launch day, it just completely blew up. Like, we had like Yorkshire Tea tweeting about it. We had uh, Twitch streamers tweeting about it and playing it. Um, it just got quite a huge positive response. And I think on Steam, I think it's about like, I think it's on mostly positive now. Is like the what's it called? The review, the tag thing on the
Oh,
review.
the
I don't know what
thumbs
it's
up,
called
thumbs down
actually.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like mostly positive, which is, you know, on Steam, fantastic. Um, so many funny reviews as well. Someone was like, I can lawn mow my lawn naked and not have the cops called on me, and I was just like, like what?
That's a very, very precise situation. I mean, maybe DLC. Just add it
It
in.
was
Just add in a naked skin as a as a DLC bonus or something.
yeah,
Brilliant set. So yeah,
that
so
was
the
great.
simulator games are very interesting because, like you said, they are very niche. We
Mhm.
used to have a bit of a running joke here on the podcast when we covered a lot of news about farming simulator, and we were going to start up our own league, and then we found out there was actually like a professional league for farming sim. Like, huh, that is insane. Um,
Yep.
and it's obviously not a game that is in my wheelhouse as much, but it was really interesting to see people I know play this as well, and like having a really good time with it. I can kind of understand the kind of cathartic enjoyment of going around and mowing. I hate mowing my lawn. I fucking despise it. I'm in Queensland.
Don't
There's
blame me.
bugs and cane toads everywhere. It's terrible.
Mhm.
Would not recommend. But I can see how that could be very relaxing for someone, like the satisfaction of getting that kind of that perfect mow as well, and doing all the cool patterns and stuff. I'm sure there's has there been any lawn art done yet? Is that something that's come
Um,
through?
yeah, there was one person who had done like a sort of like checkerboard style lawn, and we were just like, oh my god, that's so cool. Have you done that? Yeah, there was a few things I can't really. I think someone wrote help in the grass. I don't know why, but I seen like a picture of it floating around on the internet, and I was just like, why help? I don't know if it was like help mow my lawn or something. So I was like, okay, sure, we'll go with it. Um, I'm pretty sure someone's done a crop circle as well. It reminds me of that film Signs with the aliens, and there's like those crop
Yep.
circles on the floor. Yeah, so there was that. Yeah, mainly people really like invest time in doing stripes, so it seems to be stripes is the thing to go
Stripes is
for.
a thing. There you go.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen like when I played soccer, you'd see the stripes on the field. I could never figure out how they actually did it.
Well, I did ask about this because I was trying to figure out how to do my garden. Like, I don't know, nice, because I used to have like a really overgrown garden, and then I'd look next door and they'd have like stripes, and they would be really nice. So I just asked in our work chat and was like, how do you do stripes? And apparently it's something to do with if you've got like the lower to the ground or something it is. I'm gonna be completely wrong now, but I think it was like something to do with how low it was or how low the deck was on certain lawnmowers or something like that. But it
Right.
sounded just really simple. Or if, it might have been a certain direction you go with the lawnmower. I can't remember. But I did learn how to do it, and I thought it was really cool. I should probably read that chat again because my grass needs doing. So But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, mainly stripes,
So
mainly stripes and checkerboards.
mainly stripes and checkerboards. Interesting for people going for the. I don't know. I I'm waiting to see someone do some kind of reincarnation of Bob Ross's paintings somehow. Just like with different lengths. I mean, I can't even figure out stripes, so
Yeah,
I'm sure that I mean, there's some incredibly talented people out there. I'm sure they'll figure something out. So
yeah.
now that that's launched, it's all pretty well done. You guys, I'm not going to ask you if you're working on DLC stuff like that. Is there stuff coming out that you're still working on for that?
Um, so obviously I can't say anything about that. But I'm I'm gonna be switching jobs in 3 weeks, so I am currently done with Lawn Mowing Sim, which is really sad. Um, so I won't have any further knowledge of it anyway. Um, so yeah, but yeah,
No, it's okay.
I do hope we see cool stuff coming out of the studio because it's really cool. So I'm proud of them. I'm really proud.
Nice. I'm assuming you can't talk about what's next either, can you?
I'm gonna leave it until the 3 weeks and then just announce it when it's all good.
That's fair.
But
I
yeah.
won't I won't press you on that one. But so going forward in your career through the industry, what are you excited to do? Is there any dream projects you'd like to work on? I mean, I know with gaming it's a little bit like it's either a franchise or a new IP kind of deal. But are there any positions or anything you're kind of gunning towards? Anything like career aspiration wise?
I think the next change that I'm going to next month is probably the thing I would like to do the most. With franchises and stuff, I don't know. I mean, the games that I'm like heavily invested on, I've already spent time with. Like Horizon was like one of my favorite games. So was The Last of Us, and to actually have worked on like Last of Us and stuff in Horizon, I feel like I've done some amazing stuff. Um, Franchises. I think it'd be quite fun to work on Dead by Daylight. I really love that game. I think it's great. um,
Yeah, it is a
I
fun
love.
game.
Yeah, the team are very creative as well. I love their community manager. I don't know who the community manager is, but there was. Remember when there was something to do with the map being green? On the car. God, I can't even remember the name of the map now. I do love Dead by Daylight. I just can't remember the maps. And it was like a green fog, and the community were going wild about this green, and this community manager just kept making the scene more greener and greener, and there was just this thread going on, and I was like, "You're such a good community manager. You're funny." um, I don't know.
um,
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just looking to see what would be fun. I don't know. There's just yeah. I think I'm happy with what I have delved
yeah.
into. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. So let's continue on that thread of games you love. What are you playing at the moment? I know you were talking about Final Fantasy earlier when we were trying to figure out what the fuck was going on with my microphone.
Um, so I've been playing Warcraft for the past like good few years, but I've recently it's a bit of a sore subject at the moment in the community and the industry. But I've jumped over to Final Fantasy now, which is really cool. I used to play it a while ago with a different like group of people, but they've sort of like moved on from Final Fantasy now. So I've been playing Final Fantasy a lot. I'm really enjoying it. Again, whenever the update stuff is just really fun updates. I've managed to get my Warcraft guild to like come over to Final Fantasy as well. So we've made the guild
Oh,
again
nice.
on Final Fantasy. I also play League of Legends. I do jump into Dead by Daylight a bit, and most recently as well because Quake has had an update. It's co-op and it looks like it's how like the graphics have been redone, so it doesn't look like the original anymore. If that makes sense.
Okay, right. Yeah, I haven't. I've seen stuff
Yeah.
on Twitter about it. I haven't had a chance to delve in and update it. I don't think I even have it on this PC. I had it on my old PC because it was about the only thing my old PC would run that I could stream at the same time back when I started.
Yeah.
So I'll have to have a look at that because I do quite enjoy Quake. It's some glorious chaos. I do like it. It's good.
Well, it was the update was free as well if you owned it, so it was a nice surprise to just log in and be like, oh, we can do co-op now on Quake. So I've been enjoying playing Quake and getting all the like achievements and stuff, so it's really fun. Yeah. Other than that, I got Scarlet Nexus as well, which is really cool.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's nice.
You can skate on trains. Some pretty crazy shit going on there, which is always fun. Very it reminds me a lot of Devil May Cry, which is a series I really like. 5 was hilarious. So what I want to jump back a bit because I like being all over the place. It's good fun, keeps you on your toes. Where did you start as a gamer? Where like little Christina? Where did that all kick off? What got you into it?
My sister, which is a weird one because she doesn't really game anymore. She has bought my niece a Nintendo Switch though, and my niece Isla, she loves Pokemon now. And she's just started playing the Lego games as well, which is really good. So she started to like be a little gamer now, so I'm really happy with that. But she is way ahead in like Pokemon Sword and Shield than I am and stuff, so she'll like tell me about all the cool stuff she's done, and I'm like, I'm not even there yet, but you're doing good. So it's actually my sister who got me into games. The earliest like memory I have of like getting into them was we had like a PlayStation 1. This is like I have such a bad memory, so this is all I can really remember. So we had the PlayStation 1, or rather my sister did, and she would play a lot of Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Um, it's probably her fault why I'm such a big fan of Resident Evil. I mean, I won't play the new ones because they are terrifying now, but I will play the old ones, like Code Veronica and stuff like that. I enjoy playing them again. So she was a big fan of Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Clock Tower as well was one of them. So she enjoyed all the horror games, and I used to. My mum doesn't. I think she knows now, but she didn't know it back then. I used to sneak up to her room, while she was playing Resident Evil, and I think I was like 10 or something, or maybe like younger, and I'd just sit there with a blanket and just watch her play Resident Evil. She would give me the pads occasionally to like have a go, but I'd get like a little bit freaked out by some of the like the dogs breaking through windows and stuff. But yeah, whenever she got a new video game, I'd be up there playing the PlayStation with her. Whenever a new console came out, she'd get it. So I think my sister is mostly the reason why I'm into games. She eventually went off and to do science, so she's a biochemist now. And I think that my mum kind of wanted me to go in the same direction because I did science and stuff in school. But then I just thought, you know what, I love playing games, and if there's a career in this is probably what I want to do. And apparently there is, so yeah, that worked out really well.
I mean, amazing. Yeah. It's amazing the things you can find at 1 a.m.
But yeah, I don't even know if I would have found that job if I wasn't up at 1 a.m. on that specific day. So you never know. 1 a.m. Do your job say just late?
Yeah. I mean, I think like I've worked in hospitality for far too long. It's been about 20 years, and so I'm kind of wired to be up late now. So yeah. I find like I'll get home from work, I'm still kind of wound up from service, blah 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 blah, blah, and I'm getting home at like 11:30 at night. So I don't go to sleep till like 3. And so I like there's this 3-hour gap where I don't know what to do because everyone's asleep. So it's really hard to do productive things around the house without waking people up.
Yep.
So it's just video games or just like in front of the TV. Just like,
Yeah. Or reading. I think reading's probably one of the quietest thing you can do, but it depends how much you like reading, I guess. So yeah.
I used to really like it. Not so much anymore. I don't know why. I do like audiobooks. But I have struggled with reading paper for a while. I think it's just like
Yeah.
getting comfortable with the book, and
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It
Yeah.
makes things weird. I
I think.
know I'm envious of people that can sit there with a paperback and get comfortable. I don't know how they
I
manage it.
mean, I think one of the best things we've done in the past 2 years was we have a women in games book club. So I used to read anyway, but joining a book club has helped because you're with people who like love talking about books, and then they'll recommend something, and you'll be like, oh, I want to go read that. So joining a book club was definitely one of the things that really helped like get into reading a bit more. Um, so yeah, if anyone is looking to like read more, join a book club. It works. It helps. It's great, and you can just like geek out over books. So you know.
Nice. You mentioned women in games, which is something I hadn't actually gone over. You're an ambassador. You're an ambassador for that. Um, how did you get into there, or how did you get into that place?
um, So when I first started PlayStation, there was a woman I worked with called Michelle Tilley, and she was a Women in Games ambassador. And I remember asking her about the program. Like I was like, "Oh wow, that's really cool that you're an ambassador." And she would like tell me about it and stuff. And there was a link to join up, and I didn't feel like I was ready because I'd only just joined the industry. I didn't feel like I knew my stuff yet, or a lot about women in games in the industry anyway. So I left it for like 2 years, and then I just went back to it and decided, you know what, this is something I would like to be involved in. And I just did a bit more research and stuff, applied, and then got to be an ambassador. So it was really cool.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Do you
it's
have
really fun.
any like as an ambassador? Is there any specific things you need to do as that kind of role?
You need to be active, like you need to stay active within your role as an ambassador. So we do things like coffee breaks, which are like, so some of the ones that I've done, for example, be I did a presentation on accessibility in video games. So there's a few people who joined and they wanted to learn a bit more about accessibility, some of the charities that are involved, like Special Effect. They're like probably one of the biggest charities. And then other companies that support the charities like Intercoin and stuff like that. And then there was obviously the accessibility in video games, and it was handy as well because The Last of Us had just been released, and people were praising the accessibility, and I could actually like look at you know different examples online on Reddit, on Twitter, and like pull them into my presentation. So I was kind of really happy. That was like perfect timing. And then another one I did was just when it was like very COVID heavy, and a lot of people are feeling a bit like rubbish about staying at home and stuff. So just had like a Jackbox party. I was like, if anyone wants to come, just log in at this time and I'll play Jackbox with you. So it's just the really like fun stuff like that. It can be educational, it can be just for fun, um, or it can just be something you're really passionate about and you just want to talk about. Um, so yeah, being active and doing like coffee breaks is a really good way to make sure you're just still involved. And we've got the Women in Games Satellite Festival coming up soon as well, and a game jam. So we get involved with stuff like that, um, which is really cool. And yeah, we just like talk to people, do presentations, talks. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So for people that were looking to get into that, where would they find that kind of information?
It would just be on the Women in Games link. I think it's literally just womeningames.org. It's literally just womeningames.org. But we have like Twitter pages and stuff as well. And there's also a Discord. I think that is linked on the website anyway. But yeah, all the information is on that website, so that's where you'll find it, and that's where you
Cool.
can sign up as well.
Awesome. Excellent. I'd love to see that stuff. I mean, it's good to see women in gaming, especially now with everything that's been going on with the industry the last couple of years, because it's been an absolute fucking nightmare. It's good to see that kind of activity out there and people really supporting women in games. I think it's great. A big year in games this year. Are you looking forward to anything coming up?
Horizon Forbidden West. That's exciting.
That does look really good. I saw the trailer the other day. It looks amazing.
The new Saints Row. I used to love Saints Row, and that trailer I didn't even recognize it as Saints Row, so I was like, that's really cool. Kena Bridge of Spirits as well. That's one I'm so excited for. Absolutely gutted it got delayed, but delayed means a better gameplay experience, so that's absolutely fine. Oh god, there was just so many things at Gamescom as well. It was just like, boom,
I
here's
haven't
this,
even
here's
caught
this,
up
here's
with
this.
Gamescom yet. It was like last week, and I was like, oh, I turned around because I've got a few friends that cover the news and stuff, and they're like, oh, Gamescom's next week. I'm like, oh, cool, and then it kind of went, and I'm like, now there's like 8 different games I need to go look at, and updates and all this kind of stuff. Oh man, there's so much. It's like
Oh
my backlog just keeps getting bigger and bigger, because there's all these games coming out in the next 12 months, and I don't know,
yeah,
my wallet's crying.
I think Last of Us, Life is Strange, Colors comes out in like, I don't know what, like 20 days or something. I don't know, something really soon. But that's so exciting. I love Life is Strange. It's so emotional, but it's so good. And Doki V as well. That trailer, like me and my boyfriend were just immersed in this trailer. We were like, wow, that's so cool. What is it? But look really good. So that looks really good. I want to play that. Um, yeah, there are so many things coming out that I want to play. There's just too many games and
Yeah.
not enough time, I think.
I know, right? We need to. I've been an advocate for this for a while now. I need to just extend the day by another 24 hours, so I can spend like 24 hours working, and the other 24 hours just
playing games.
playing games. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
I'm for
great.
that.
Just shorten the work week. Pay me more. Let me work less hours. And we'll be set.
I'm
Fantastic.
for that. Yeah, because you tend to go to work and then when you come home, you're like, oh, I've only got 2 hours to play games, and those 2 hours go by so fast. So yeah, I'm all
I
for
do,
that.
especially when you're tired too. Like you get home, like I've got 2 hours to like play games, and then like you like fall asleep halfway through that. You feel so robbed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then at weekends, sometimes people just ask you to do stuff, and you're just like, oh, I just want to play games. But then you go out anyway because friends. So
Yeah.
you can't have
So
it
it's
all. So
going out,
yeah.
or going on podcasts that can't remember what time it is in the UK.
It's all good. We made this one, so it's all good.
we,
It's okay.
we got here eventually. Quick backstory. I may have arranged a time with Christina earlier on. And it's really funny because a couple of weeks ago, a mate of mine who has another podcast had issues with time zones and a guest, and I'm like, why don't you just use World Time Buddy? It's your best friend. It'll sort everything out. You don't even need to think about it. And here I am, like 2 weeks later, just eating my humble pie very fucking quietly.
To be fair
Oh my
though,
God.
I was going out with my friend, and because the podcast was like early in the morning, I actually got up early and got ready and got changed. And I texted Rachel, and she was like, oh, "Okay, I'll come get you in a minute." Then I was like, "Okay." So it kind of
Oh well.
was a good thing anyway. Like, so I got to go out early and spend more money quicker. So it worked out, I guess.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
No problem. It's what we're here for, you know. Always happy to help. Christina, it's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic chatting to you.
Thank you for
when
inviting
we
me.
did get here, and once we finally got through all the audio shenanigans, I'll see if any of those clips are salvageable to throw on a blooper reel at the start or something.
It'd just be you
Mostly-
talking and me just like, nope.
nope, and then just me just crying in a corner. So for those listening at home, where can they find you? The things you're doing, the things you're working on. I mean, not that you can talk about them, but where can we look forward to where can we find where you take your next adventures in the gaming industry?
I'm on Twitter and I guess LinkedIn. I don't really use it that much though, but Twitter's the main hub where I just talk to everyone and post things and pets and stuff like that. So yeah, Twitter. My handle is at SpideyCat with an X on the end because someone took SpideyCat. So
Oh,
I know.
rude.
I know.
Rude.
It's an
How
X on the
dare
end. I was
they?
like,
Yeah, have you contacted them and said, "Excuse me, can we like swap and like you have the X?"
I don't even think the Twitter account is active either, which it's just a private account and it's got no followers, so I don't know. Yeah.
They're the worst kind of people. I'm gonna write them a very very angry DM. Hey, you need to give my friend this handle now. I won't because they'll probably block me. I don't want to go to Twitter jail for abuse. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in this week. If you want to find the podcast, I mean, we're 135 episodes deep. If you don't know where we are by now, you should figure it out. We're on Twitter at LeftPod, Instagram 2LeftThumbs Podcast. You can also find the video version of this up on our YouTube channel, which you can find at 2LeftThumbs.online. Once again, thank you for listening, Christina. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me and telling me all the wonderful secrets behind QA and producing. And everyone else, I'll chat at you next week. Bye. No anymore. All right. Okay. So we're still here. We're good. I think. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right. You watch it. It'll cut out the second I start doing the intro. Probably.
Fingers crossed.
Toes. Everything's fucking crossed right now. It seems like I'm coming through okay. So like I'm getting proper reading waves on the thing. Are yours coming up on yours, like the waveforms down the bottom when you speak?
Hello. No, they're not, but they were before.
Okay, no, they're just really quiet. That's fine. I can adjust that in post. That's cool. I can see the little spikes there. Okay. Sometimes it records people really quietly. Anyway, while we've got this going, sing.